the KMNN studios, this is the Kids Morning News Network.
It's August 26th, 2024, the 239th day of the year. Welcome to the Kids Morning News Network podcast. I'm Alex in the KMNN studio. The Paralympics kick off in Paris this week. It's the world's biggest sporting competition for people with a wide range of disabilities and different abilities. The games that eventually became the Paralympics started after World War II for a small group of British soldiers who had been injured in the war. They were at Stoke Mandeville Hospital in England, and the games were known as the Stoke Mandeville Games at first. And that's actually where the Paralympic flame is lit. The Olympic flame is lit in Athens, Greece, since that's where the Olympics historically started. So it makes sense that the Paralympic flame would be lit where they started. Then, just like the Olympics, the flame is carried to the site of the Games. The flame was lit this past weekend and started its journey to Paris. 24 British torchbearers carried it halfway through the tunnel between England and France and handed it off to 24 French torchbearers. When it gets over to the mainland, the flame will be split into 12 flames to represent the 12 days of the Games. Then each flame will take its own path to Paris in time for the opening ceremony on Wednesday. In 1988, the Paralympics started being held right after the Olympics, which is still how it works. That's why the Paralympics are being held in Paris, using a lot of the same buildings and playing fields the Olympics did. There are 22 sports in the Summer Paralympics this year. Most of them are sports that are also played in the Olympics, from triathlon to judo, but two of them are unique. One is goalball, which is designed for players who are blind or visually impaired. All the players wear eye shades, so no one has an advantage. They play on an indoor court on their hands and knees and try to get a ball into the other team's goal only using their hearing. That sounds tricky. The other unique sport is boccia, which hopefully I'm saying correctly. Where goalball is fast-paced and active, boccia is very precise. It was developed for athletes in wheelchairs, and these days there are 4 classes they can compete in. Each team has a set of red balls or blue balls, and the goal is to roll them onto the field and get as close to a single white ball, called the jack, as they can without hitting it. More than 4,000 athletes are expected to compete this year, with as many as 65,000 spectators cheering them on. I will, of course, bring you updates all along the way. You may be starting school this week, maybe even today, or next week, or you may have been back for weeks already. It all depends on where you live. Here in the US, different states have different start times. People often say that's because they used to need kids to work on the farms in the summer back in the olden days, but that's not really true. In fact, if you start reading about it, you find out that no one can really agree on why different states start school on different days. But there is an idea that a long summer break might make it hard for kids to remember what they learned the previous year. And that's one reason some people are pushing for a shorter summer vacation and earlier start days. Schools in different countries sometimes use a whole different schedule. Some countries in the southern hemisphere, where seasons are opposite what we have here in the northern hemisphere, take summer vacation in December. So the school year begins in January, which kind of makes things easier when you think about it. I bet they also use the metric system. So for all you kids listening in Australia, you're in the second half of your school year, and I hope it's going well. But for all of you up here in the northern hemisphere, welcome back. Best wishes for a great school year. It's riddle time. Friday's riddle was, I can be cracked, made, told, and played. What am I? The answer? A joke. Today's riddle, always in front of you but never seen. What is it? Always in front of you but never seen. What is it? I'll give you the answer on Wednesday, but you've got to make sure to follow or subscribe to the Kids Morning News Network on your podcast app or player so you don't miss it. Well, we've got big Starliner news today. You may remember Starliner as the spacecraft that headed up to the ISS in June on its very first mission with a crew on board. Because of technical problems, the launch was delayed, and then once it finally made it to the ISS for what was supposed to be just a few days, it was stuck there because of, yes, more technical problems. Well, NASA has made a decision, and Starliner will be coming back to Earth without its crew. They will stay on the ISS until the next regular return flight, which isn't until next year. Imagine going on a trip that was supposed to last a few days and not coming home for 7 months. Hey, when you're an astronaut, you have to be ready for anything. And there's another epic journey in the news, this one here on Earth. A northwestern pond turtle named Number 9, raised in captivity and then released into the wild in California, has been spotted 5 miles upstream from where it was released. That's a big deal for a couple of reasons. First, because the turtle was spotted in Muir Woods National Monument, where northwestern pond turtles haven't been seen for 30 years. Hey, welcome back, pond turtles. And second, because this turtle made the 5-mile trip upstream on little stumpy 1-inch legs in just 2 months. That is dedication. And the weather today: rains in the plains, the northern plains, and heat in the Midwest, east of the rain. You could also see some rain in the southwest deserts, Florida, and in the northeast. Overall, though, lots of sun. And that's the show. Thank you very much for listening. If you're new here, welcome. And even if you're not new, make sure to follow or subscribe to the Kids Morning News Network on your podcast player, your podcast app, or your smart device, wherever it is that you're listening to the podcast. I'll be back on Wednesday, and I hope that you are too. From the KMNN Newsroom, this is Alex signing off.